Afternoon everybody, welcome to another Tiller's Turf Talk. Completely different Friday to last week. You know, we had that beautiful sunshine, we're out in the field enjoying. This week, hailstones, temperatures down to single figures again, so we've been forced back into the greenhouse again this week to film. So what we're going to look at this week, well, we all know that Tiller's grows a great range of grass turf products, but did you know we also grow wildflower turf? So I've got a little example here, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about it to you. So what are the benefits of wildflowers? Well, we know from historical records that we've lost much of our sort of natural meadowlands over the last sort of 60-80 years. We also know that you know, things like our good bumblebees are in decline too. So you know, there are statistics saying they've declined up to maybe 80% in range and population, you know, over the last sort of 40 to 50 years. So that's a real concern. So anything we can do to help our pollinators, not just the bees but also things like the butterflies and anything else that wants to live in here, has got to be a massive bonus, you know, for our whole sort of ecosystem, I guess. So what are the benefits of wildflowers? Well, apart from the pollinators, it looks great. Yes, at the moment, you know, this is a production crop here. We're not the right time of year to see a full sort of wildflower displays yet, so we may have things like early cowslips, things like primroses can come, you know, see them this time of year. So not only will the product look great in the summer when it starts to flower, but it'll also make you feel good. You know, what's nicer than walking through a beautiful wildflower meadow on a nice sunny day, looking at the wildlife, watching the butterflies? You can't beat it. Now, another advantage, apart from obviously the environmental benefits of wildflower turf, is obviously it's less mowing. So as an alternative on the average sort of maybe lawn or grass verges, you know, through a town anywhere like that, where quite often you can be mowing maybe in excess of 30 plus times a year, maybe 1/2 cuts a year is enough for this. So again, it's also quite a low maintenance turf too, so very, very good for the environment. So a lot of people say to me, why do we need to use wildflower turf then, why not just seed it? Well, very good question. I've created wildflower meadows from seed myself before. The challenge I really found was the competition from the indigenous seeds within the original soil. So we often found that by obviously preparing the seed bed, stirring the soil up, we also turned up a seed bed of indigenous weed seeds, so it can be broadleaf grasses or any other sort of broadleaf weeds that we really don't want, that are going to come in and dominate a really nice wildflower display, so very, very difficult. Now, the wildflower turf we grow here is actually a soilless system. So there's no topsoil in here, so we're using a sterilised, specially blended compost that's taken years and years of research for us to get right to the standard where we need it to be. So below that, one of the most important things is we grow it on a degradable matting. So that matting also acts as a weed suppressant, so it allows the roots to go down into the soil for the wildflower plants themselves, but also it negates the risk, or certainly massively reduces the risk of the indigenous seed being able to germinate and dominate the bed. The other advantage, of course, is we already have mature plants. So we already have a mature meadow here, and in 3 to 4 weeks time, once we've laid this, and I will say that now is a great time of year to lay it, we're just moving, as I say, into the nice warmer season now where the wildflowers are going to become more prominent. So fantastic product, lots of variety in here, lots of interest. So we try and produce the wildflower turf to have lots of sort of different levels of flowers. So we may have things like self-heal down in the base, nice purple flower. Then we'll have things like red campion here, we have oxeye daisy, we have wild carrot, achillea. So lots and lots of different colour, lots of different interest throughout the year. So the great thing about the wildflower turf is the simplicity of the installation. So once you've received the product, it will come in a slab form like this. So it will be laid flat on a pallet. Each slab is 1.2 metres long by 0.6 wide. Not too heavy, so one person each end can very comfortably lift it and place it into position. Now, as I say, ground preparation minimal, so the least you can disturb the soil the better. You can just create a very, very gentle tilth just for the keys to tap into. So as far as laying is concerned, it's very simply a case of placing the turf down, then rather than using, as you would with the grass turf, using laying boards, would be to simply put the turf on the ground and just gently press it into position. That way we reduce the risk of creating any damage to the plants and hindering any sort of quick development. Okay, so once the wildflower turf has been installed, as I say, you've already got a mature bed of beautiful wildflowers here, and I would expect once it's been laid, particularly this time of year, within 4 to 6 weeks you're going to have a fantastic display. It won't be too long before the wildlife moves in and you can sit back, enjoy it. Now it doesn't require no maintenance, but it does require low maintenance. So at the end of the year, after the end of the flowering season, so maybe October time, will be the time to cut and collect. You may wish to do a second cut earlier on in the year, so maybe around June, July time, if it's starting to look a little bit untidy, then you can also do a cut then, a secondary cut too. But whenever you do cut the wildflower turf, always be sure to remove the vegetation and the arisings from it. We don't want anything that's going to decompose in there and create additional nutrition. So ideally it wants to be laid on a sort of a nutrient low soil, and that would help it, and that again would lower the risk of anything else that we don't want in there becoming dominant. So the key thing really is some good free draining, you know, nice sandy topsoil is absolutely perfect. So once you've laid it, sit back and enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed that little turf talk today. Apologies we can't be outside, the weather is pretty foul to be honest. So I'll finish off by saying, you know, continue to share this with your friends, like it, retweet it, subscribe to the channel, and have a great weekend everybody, and we'll catch up with you again next week. Thank you.